Je sème tout vent, I sow to all winds, says the fly page of Larousse, the classic universal encyclopedia that most French homes seem still to have. That was the Google of the past centuries. And indeed, one could find a lot of information in its pages. And to peruse those pages was to grow in knowledge, universal knowledge. One can do the same with modern means, but how many actually know how to control them without being controlled by them? If one looks carefully at the way it works, internet by nature is addictive. One thing stops and another immediately starts, and when one starts for a reason, one finishes at a very different reason. And in the meantime, life is going by, and the mind is sucked into other minds, other thoughts, and is not its own. A book doesn't quite have that same psychological effect. Years ago, in school days, I discovered the little trick of a tiny pause at the end of each paragraph to look in at the guest in the soul, and thus to maintain a contemplative mode. That can't be done on internet. It is too aggressive. It takes over everything. A book isn't loud. And we can choose whether we want one or the other in our short innings on earth. The Lord went into a boat. I remember years ago being told to go to the Holy Land before entering the novitiate in 1976, and we were on the Sea of Galilee, the Lake of Tiberias, and I was asked to read in the boat, and it was this passage that I found, where the Lord had gone into a boat and was preaching the word to them. He could be heard, therefore, by all, not just by those next to him. Nowadays, the modern means of amplification of a word allow that word to go across the airwaves and to reach souls at a great distance. At least at that point, if they're listening alone, they can listen well. Alone, one does hear well. But the same problem comes through with regard to reception. The Lord indicates 4 categories, and one of them is that of the seed that is throttled. The word is choked by cares, how many cares there are, and how many of our own making, because we have desires to be satisfied, and by desires themselves. And it is not able to bear fruit. So we need to be aware that we have to choose between exposing ourselves to the risk of being throttled or being able to bear fruit, which actually allows the fruit to come out of its own accord. It has a power in itself, and so does the Word. Nowadays, preaching, which actually in its physical form of using a pulpit echoes that of the Lord using the boat, for the ancient pulpits resemble the end of a boat. The preaching of the Word in a pulpit has proportionate effect to the desire of the receiving soul. When one goes into church and prays for a word, or when one comes into Lectio Divina and does the same, that very reception and thirst is the best terrain possible. One word can go a long way. And then one pauses at the word that has warmed the heart and goes into mode. Words which go on and on do not have the same effect. They simply choke. And so a certain simplicity in the day and in the need greatly helps. Lord, teach us this day to simplify, reduce, and give you the space, for you are the Word. Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. Adoremus in aeternum, Sanctissimum Sacramentum, Laudate Dominum omnes gentes, Laudate Deum omnes populi, quoniam confirmata est super nos misericordia eis, et veritas Domini manet in aeternum. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, sic ut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Adoremus in aeternum, Sanctissimum Sacramentum.